G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And Six Nations is upon us. First match of the weekend. France versus Ireland. Both teams wounded from the quarterfinal exit. And France had an opportunity at home here to kind of like show the French public, show the fans, the millions and millions of fans all around the country that they're back. They're going to redeem themselves. And boy, that was not a good performance by the French team. And it left everybody, kind of left me wondering, how much was Antoine Dupont actually doing for the French team? You know, garnishing all that success, right? How much of that success was due to Antoine Dupont? Because there was a point where, in this game, where the French just looked lost, where they just didn't have any ideas, and they just kind of like kicked the ball away, and really, not because they have nothing else. Unlike, they have nothing else to do, they had no options. Whereas when they had Dupont, you will literally create options out of thin air, just like that. And then the French team was able to very successfully build on that option, build on that momentum, and get themselves in a situation to score tries and score points. They still had like really talented players on the field in this game. You can see, Damien Penaud scoring a try for the French. They had, line busters from, the centers from Jonathan Danty. But it was just the way to get the ball to utilize these weapons was just not there. There was no options for the French. What also credit could be given to the Irish having really, really good defense and being able to read the attack line. But it was just, like the spice, the flair was just not there without Antoine Dupont. As much as, the rest of the French team is, talented and everything else. Yeah, it's just lacked a little bit. And also another question could be asked about the French team is, have they just been over-relying on Dupont for a bit too long? Because we remember a time, right, when, during the Autumn Nations Cup where the French put on the B team and they almost beat England, right? When the French came to Australia a couple years ago now, I think, 3 years ago now, and they brought the B team without Dupont, and they, pulled the Australian team to the sword in a series that they lost, just by literally by 1 point or something. And it's just, they had the talent to be a world-class team without Dupont, but have they just become overly reliant, in the last maybe 12 months or so, on the talent that Dupont had? And they just, have they just been relying on Dupont to create those opportunities out of nothing, and they have forgotten how to achieve that without Dupont, right? That's kind of like what it looked like to me, the big glaring problem out of the French team today. For Ireland, first up, congratulations, Crowley. That was an absolute world-class performance on a Johnny Sexton impression. Best in the world. I've never seen one better than that. Okay, so Crowley actually came in, and this is actually the first time we've seen one of the Johnny Sexton replacements, successors, I guess, play a style that is the Johnny Sexton style. We've had, Joey Carberry, Billy Burns. We've had, what's his name? Ross Byrne, and they were all just playing they were all playing their own style, much more methodical kind of style, and it's just not really it's just never really clicked with the style that Andy Farrell wanted to play. That is Johnny Sexton, fast-paced style. And I thought Crowley did such a good job in imitating Johnny Sexton. He even got that, where he just throwing himself into the breakdown and just kind of flatten himself on top of the rock. He even got that down. Something that Johnny Sexton does a lot. Even got that down. Saw that a few times from him this game, and then also he got the random goal kicking misses from that sometimes just randomly happens to Johnny Sexton as well, and he even got that down as well. So yeah, in terms of imitating Johnny Sexton, and also just the way he passes the ball, the way he moves around, the way he positions himself around the field, really, it was a really, really, really good Johnny Sexton imitation. There were a lot of things that he needs to improve on. The polish is not quite there. I do think that a lot of the weight of being the successor of Johnny Sexton has been taken away by Bundy Aki in this game. Bundy Aki was doing a lot of the playmaking. doing punching through the lines of himself, creating the first try for the Irish team, and just a lot of that pressure has to be taken away a little bit from Crowley. But overall, I thought it was it was probably I did not expect him to come out and play in this style, something that we've seen in the past where all his predecessors were not able to do so successfully. And with that, I thought kind of surprised me as well. I really thought the Irish team, especially with the 6-2 bench setup, was going to come in with a different game plan. And no, they didn't. They played the style that they always wanted to play. Just, big forwards, big centers, jamming down the middle of the field. It's just really simple rugby. And instead of just like the one pass crash ball that they kind of used to do, it kind of used to do normally, they kind of try to shift the ball one more time in this game. So there's a lot of like little 1-2 passes between like two ball runners. Obviously the 9 will pass the ball to somebody, and there's just little 1-2 very close runners, and they'll just do a little short ball from the guy inside to the outside guy and try to punch through the game line. That has been very successful this game. Bundy actually punched through once with an offload to help Gibson Parks, I think it was, who scored the first try. And then it was, what's his name? Ty Byrne also got one from a little short power ball from, the Johnny Sexton imitator, world-class imitator himself from Crowley. Got himself the second try as well. And so that was really, really good for Ireland, getting that momentum forward. And you really didn't look like they lost that much without Sexton. That's something that I was really concerned about. Unlike the French team, clearly look like like a headless chicken. The Irish really didn't look like they missed that much without Johnny. Really much better transition there. Another thing I thought the Irish team did better. The Irish team dominated pretty much every aspect of the game. They were better at the kicking game, even though the kicking game was pretty lackluster for both teams. There wasn't really too much of a strategic part from the kicking game, but the Irish team were just able to execute it a little bit better. Be able to return, be able to recycle their own kick much better than the French did as well. The Irish was dominant at the breakdowns. Line out Ty Byrne was just really incredible. Just able to steal. How many balls did he steal? Like 3 or 4 this game. Just like the French was not able to get any set piece, stability because of it. The only thing that did work against Ireland was the scrummaging. Antonio was just way too good. Too much power, too much strength. The technique was just impeccable. Porter was boring in on him a little bit, it looked like. And the big man was just basically like shrugged it and just kept himself squared. Didn't even affect him at all, and there was in fact a scrum win over the French with a scrum penalty and a scrum turnover against the Irish. It was something that Andrew Porter would not be happy about tonight. I'll probably have to smash some protein powder and go to the gym after this match, after that performance. So that's that. I've already talked about the French. I did notice that the referee was trying to constantly tell the players to speed up the game, which I was really happy about. Like, when there was a penalty, it's just like he's just like constantly urging the player to kick the ball out, go. When there's any sort of like breakdown in the game, he's just like go. Whenever there's a breakdown, just like quickly get the ball out. So the referee Matthew Carley was constantly urging the players to keep the game pace going, and I thought that was really good. Just keeping the keeping the game more alive and more exciting. And so with that being said, Crowley was as good as he is. I do think that there was a few kicking options, kind of just went, there was a bit of a grubber kick behind that was just like not on. A cross-field kick inside the 22 in the second half as well. There's definitely still work to be done, but overall, I think the Irish fans will be pretty pleased with that performance from Crowley. And we're gonna go to the controversial part now. The red card to Willemse. The French is the world's most disciplined team coming up to this point. I actually can't remember the last time the French team had a yellow card, to be honest. The Irish, I remember, they had a yellow card this game, in fact, to Peter Romani. I remember Peter Romani had another yellow card at some point in the World Cup. Definitely had a yellow card here and there. I still remember the absorbing tackle from Andrew Porter. So it's the Irish team is one of the better teams with the discipline, but they still have you still can still have that infrequent yellow cards being given out. But the French, I actually can't remember. I actually don't remember the last time. I mean, is it Antonio got one? Or did he get one some point in the Six Nations last year? Or was it? I don't think he got one in the World Cup. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, let me know when was the last time the French team actually got a yellow card, because I actually can't. And someone's gonna tell me, oh, it's literally the last game against the Springboks, and I don't think they had a yellow card against Springboks today. But anyway, I can't remember. So yeah, so for Willemse to come in and get 2 yellow cards, and he's been injured from international test matches a little bit, so maybe he's a bit rusty. Maybe he's been he hasn't been in the test environment for a while now. So maybe that's why 2 yellow cards. Second yellow card was actually straight up a red. So he's basically got a yellow card and a red card. So yeah, but 2 yellow cards was already enough to be a red card. So he was already sent off, and it was pretty bad. The first one I thought was a little bit harsh, because it was a situation where the Irish player, I think it was anyway, the Irish player was kind of like tipped over, and then he kind of got up and went again. He was kind of like in the process of getting up, so it was really low. And Andrew Porter was also the French player was really low, and Andrew Porter was basically making an extremely low tackle on him, and he was already like incredibly low, and the only contact point that was left for Willemse to clean him out was basically his head, because they're all like super down low on the ground. There was no other way to clean him out. And maybe you can argue that Willemse should just not have gone in at all. But it's just, I thought that was a bit harsh. I thought that probably could just be a penalty, but still, he made contact with the head, and the review said it was just a yellow. But I thought that one was probably, a bit too harsh. Something that Nigel Owens talked about last week rather, that he wants to see that if there's nothing else that the player could have done to avoid that, which I thought this could be the case, because like literally there was no other way to make a clean out other than potentially making contact with the head, other than not cleaning out at all, right? So I thought in this situation could have been that Willemse has done everything he possibly could and not getting the yellow card at all. I thought just the penalty, maybe not even a penalty in that case. Right? There's no like intent in the foul play. Whereas the second one, yeah, he could have done much better. It was just a straight up high tackle, shoulder to the head. Could have definitely gone lower on that one, and that I think everybody can agree it's definitely that yellow card, and maybe a red card as well, depends, because there was another tackler involved going into the tackle, so you could potentially argue that for a yellow as a mitigating factor. But it's definitely head shoulder to the head, and he's going to be looking at a suspension as well following that high shot. So yeah, let's move on quickly. Have a look at the match stats. The run meters, this one's actually not correct. Pretty sure it's much higher than that, but let's just skip that forward. But 2 tries to 5. The French, despite playing with 14 players for most of the match, was actually fighting back against the Irish. There was the little moment where they brought on the reserve locks. They brought on basically the reserves on the French side, essentially like the bomb squad. We know the French got 6-2 bench split, and it was Tuilangi, the big young man, come on, and the French scrum just absolutely steamrolled the Irish scrum. At that point, I thought maybe the French had something up their sleeves like the Springboks have, trying to maybe assert more dominance with that scrummaging to try to get that penalty going, get that momentum going. But no, the French was not able to capitalize on any of that. Maybe strategically that wasn't part of the plan, but then again, the players weren't adapting to what's given to them, to that scrum dominance, that period of which having big fresh legs on the field. They didn't quite capitalize on that as much as I think they would like to. Defenders beaten surprisingly 20 apiece at halftime. Like I said, the second half French actually made a bit of a comeback. At halftime, the Ireland was absolutely dominating. Ireland already had 40 carries to the French 19. So second half, the French caught up a bit, 93 carries to the Irish 112. Turnovers conceded at halftime, 4 to the French, 3 to Irish. So very low for both teams. Second half, the French turnovers just skyrocketed, 13. What's going on? The stats just literally just changed as I'm talking. I had this on video, so I'm not deluded. I wasn't just imagining it. 13 points to 7, 13 turnovers to 7 considered. Tackles made 142 to the French, 113 to the Irish. missed tackles for both teams quite a lot. The Irish was deploying the rush defense a little bit, so that leads to probably a bit more missed tackles than they would liked, but it was very effective in shutting down the French options, and they were just like, what do we do? Kicks in play, 20 for the French, 33 for the Irish. Goal kicking, one miss from like random miss. That was right in front of us, from Crowley. So just like Johnny Sexton, quite a spot on imitation. The lineouts was absolutely horrendous for the French. They were lost so many lineouts just like 5 meters out from their own line. It says here 4 lineouts lost. There was probably like another 4 that was spoiled. Like, they didn't lose, they retained the ball, but the ball was somehow like interrupted or disrupted, and it wasn't a clean take, and the maul wasn't able to be set up because of it. It was so many of those was spoiled, especially by Ty Burn. It was just, it was really, really something that Fabien Galtier will be angry about. Scrum, the French definitely had a scrum dominance there, both in their own scrum, getting a tight head. Like I said, Andrew Porter is going to be hitting the gym with an extra protein shake tonight. And then finally, the penalty count. The French, like I said, one of the most disciplined, if not the most disciplined team in the world, only consider 8 penalties, but they did consider yellow cards. So Paul Willemse, despite being on the field for only like 15 minutes, conceded 25% of all the penalties. Yeah, one person, and he was only on the field for 15 minutes. So it shows you how good the rest of the French team actually is. The Irish, 12 penalties, considered 1 yellow card against Peter Romani. There was an illegal sacking of a maul, and he was off on a technicality, like a technical foul, I guess, for that matter. But yes, so let's have a look at some of the points scored and just talk about some of the key points of the game. So yes, right away, the Crowley had his one of his exit kicks got charged down, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is not good for the youngster. He's gonna be sweating a little bit, but nah, he's cool as a cucumber, no problems. Got himself back in the rhythm. 4 minutes into the game, they got a penalty and they kicked for the line. They went for the for the line out and went for the maul. There was a collapse and there was an offside against the French, and then they get a goal kick right in front. Crowley just popped this one through. 3 points to nil. 4 minutes into the literally 4 minutes into the game. For the Irish, 8 minutes into the game, Willemse gets his first yellow card. Like I said, this one was probably a little bit unfortunate. Everybody was really low. I don't know what else he could have done other than not to go for the clean out. So he gets a yellow card for that. 12 minutes into the game, Bandiaki, I've noted here, is already starting to show how good he is as a veteran. He showed that form from the World Cup once again, just being able to just short punch through little holes and then being able to get the offload. He almost got one here at 12 with the offload. He did punch through a little gap with a short ball, but couldn't get the ball free. And he was also doing a lot of playmaking. I saw as the second playmaker, just taking off a lot of that pressure from Crowley to allow him to kind of like ease into the role a little bit. But yeah, Crowley made his first, I guess, massive mistake. Just kicked the ball dead, and there was no options. He just grabbed the kick the ball behind. Nobody was even chasing this. Nobody expected this. Bad option for him there. 15 minutes into the game, finally, Bandiaki was already showing that little, half breaks in the field. Gets another half break, kind of wide out in open field, and this time he was able to get a hand free. Gibson Parks inside of him, offload. Try time for Ireland. It's way too easy. The French defense was looking just like big open gaps everywhere. 10 points to nil to Ireland. There was and then Luku got his ball charged down here, but whatever, let's move on. The first scrum, it looked like already Porter was under quite a bit of pressure. Like literally the first scrum, Porter kind of just went down. It looked like he was hinging. And this is pretty clear because he kind of went, because Porter was went down like this, and then Antonio pancaked. That generally is an indicator that Porter pulled him down, pulled Antonio down. I was surprised the referee didn't give a penalty for that already, but it's the first scrum that he didn't want to give it out right away. But anyway, so it was already noted that Antonio was having a bit of an advantage over Porter. 22 minutes, Ireland almost score gets held up. It took 25 minutes for so 20 minutes almost held up. Crowley had another penalty. This is the one he missed, and I think he only had I think the T may have came on too late because he only had like 10 seconds or something to take the kick. Like the shot clock was down to like 5 seconds when he took the kick. He almost ran out of time and he missed. This was like pretty much right in front. But it was like 40 minutes out, so he missed that one. 25 minutes into the game, there was a penalty to the French. Finally, they get themselves on the board. Ramos, too easy, too accurate. 45 minutes out, 3 points on the board. There was a lot of clunkiness in the French team starting to show. And then the Irish, like I said, the 1-2 punch, the first receiver and then just the short ball to a second runner as he's going to the contact. They do this again and again and again this game. And they would just be able to consistently get over the advantage line. And sure enough, a few phases later, it worked like a charm. The Crowley got the ball, and he had Ty Burn right next to him. Little short ball, and Dante completely misread this. Thought Ty Burn was just a decoy, and Ty Burn just ran straight past him. And Dante was just like, "Whoa, did not see this." Really big mistake in his defensive efforts. 13 points to 17 to the Irish. Yeah, so right from the kickoff, Willemse is back on the field at this point. Basically, high shot into a tackle. Second yellow card, already a red. Referee later on told everyone it was going to be also a red card. So Willemse got a red card and a yellow card in this match. He's going to be facing suspension. France, 34 minutes, finally having an opportunity for 5-meter line out for inside the Irish 22. So there was a prime opportunity to score a try. And Ty Burn steals it. Yeah, I mean, this was a kickable penalty. I saw they could have taken 3, but no, they went for the line out, rolled the dice, and got stifled. Just before halftime, though, France finally got themselves on the board with more penalties, penalties, and they opted to not kick for 3. They built some pressure, go for the 5-meter line out. Again, it looked like there was some sort of disruption in the line out by the Irish. The referee said that the Irish closed the gap too early, I think he was. So there was a penalty from the line-out advantage being played, but the French didn't get any penalty advantage. Wildkard said, enough is enough. These line-outs are not working. Takes a quick tap. French, a couple crash balls down center field. Really quick ball comes out. Again, short ball from Jalibert to Penald. Slices through the midfield for the first try for the French. 10 points to 17 at half-time. Second half, immediately the French gets a penalty. And they really needed this penalty as well. They wanted to get more points on the board to strike first in the second half. Ramos misses this one. It's a bit of an angle, 40 meters out. Misses this one. Should have been an easy. I mean, for someone to make Ramos, you would expect him to get that one. 45 minutes into the game, Ireland strikes back. So the French didn't score the 3. Ireland was able to strike back with a try. There were some massive carries from the Irish forward pack. The getting the forward momentum, the ball went out. Again, Robbie Henshaw showing how good he actually is. He got the ball center field. There was basically one play out wide of him, Calvin Nash, and instead of just like passing the ball and having Nash getting pushed out, he just decided to do a bit of footwork, ran took on the defensive line, drawn on 2 defenders. And then he popped the ball off the ground to a support player. I think it was Gibson Parks. Passes the ball out wide to Kevin Nash. His alter ego, Kevin Nash, goes in for the what's this one, third try for the Irish. 24 points to 10. And again, this was Crowley kicked this one from the sideline. Basically, was really well done. There was 52 minutes into the game. There was France gets their second try on the board. So Peter Romani gets sent off for illegally collapsing the maul as well. So French has some penalties. They kicked the ball out for a 5-meter line out. This time, finally, they got the ball without being disrupted. They went for the maul, and this maul was collapsed just before the try line by Peter Romani, pulled down by Peter Romani. So cynical penalty. There could have been a penalty try anyway from that. And then the French just picked and go eventually. Gabriel Arges, I think this was his what? He hasn't played for 4 years, just returned, after 4 years of absence in the French team, essentially. Picked up the ball, dotted the ball down. It looked like he knocked on the ball, but it's really hard to see on camera. First of all, it looked like it was short, and then he rolled the ball over the try line. That's what it looked like. But the on-field decision was try, so the TMO didn't have any clear angle to show that it was actually knocked on or lost control of the ball. But nowadays, you need to see clear separation in the hands anyway. Even the ball was kind of like rolled onto the ground, you have to see actual separation for that to be a no try. So fair enough. I thought that was a fair enough for a try. 17 points to 24 to the French. And yeah, more lineouts were stolen after this from by Ty Burn. The 60 minutes into the game, Ireland gets their fourth try. Dan Sheehan goes in for the try. Again, the Ireland would kind of like put up a high ball and into the French 22, kind of like, you know, one of those plays, one of those South African plays. But they were able to get the ball back, so the French had no urgency under this high ball. So Ireland got the ball back, just started steamrolling down the center of the field. They got really close to get a penalty to go for the 5-meter line out, and they went for the maul. And this was just absolute beautiful maul. The maul just wiggled, literally wiggled like, you know, like a fish swimming through like a water or something. The maul kind of wiggled to the left first, and then wiggled to the right, and then back onto the left side. Sheehan found himself a little open gap. Kind of just like punched himself through for the try. It was absolutely really beautiful done. There's more. And 80 minutes into the game, just before 80 minutes, just before full time, 77 minutes, Ireland gets their final try on the board. They they basically again get a penalty, go for the maul. And then the French just looked completely tired. This time they didn't have the wiggle. The maul just went straight through. The French pack just fell apart, essentially. And then Roland Keller was the recipient of this. 17 points to 36. And the French for the last 10 minutes or so just looked lost. Ramos was just like kicking the ball dead. Nobody seems to know what they wanted to do. The line was just getting... The rush defense on Ireland was just shutting down the French before the gang line. Crowley did do his part with the crossfield kick that went to nobody. Again, just a bit of a questionable kicks there, but you know, that was just, you know, it didn't really matter in the end. But the French was really hurling themselves, and finally the game ended the same way, kind of the same story for the entire game. The French went for the line out, 5-meter line out, gets stolen. Again, they wanted the consolation try would be nice, you know, get stolen, just not good enough. Just, you know, the line out is something that I really felt that the French let themselves down a little bit. I mean, could be just because the Irish line out was too good, but yeah, having so many line outs getting stolen, getting spoiled in an international test level, yeah, it's a story to be looked at. Anyway, guys, that's the review for this game. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel after that game. I think Ireland's looking super strong. I actually thought Scotland has an easy run this year for a potential championship, but after witnessing this performance from Irish, I think that Scotland, I don't know how they're going to perform tomorrow against Wales, but it's not going to be an easy run for Scotland this year. Oh boy, the Scottish Six Nation dream continues to wait, to elude the public. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for donating money, supporting me in Patreon, and supporting my YouTube membership. And if you don't want to pay me money, subscribing and just watch this video, commenting, clicking on this is very good of you. I do appreciate that already. So yes, thanks guys. Big thumbs up. Have a good weekend, and see you guys tomorrow for more reviews. Cheers.